We'll continue the lecture with the animal basic principle of form and function. So if you look closely into this picture, you can see that the ant living in the desert have long legs, and this give these organisms the advantage of lifting its body above the ground. So the organs and the body will be 6 degrees Celsius lower in temperature than the temperature of the sand or the temperature of this desert. That's a kind of adaptation. As well, it enables the ant to go much faster. Of speed reaches 1 meter per second, and as you can see from the bottom photo, that it can capture it predates on kind of worms, so the long legs helps as well to predate over these organisms. If we go closer to the evolution of animal size and shape, you can see that these three types of animal, either the seal or the penguin or the tuna, have developed a very unique body plan to enable these kind of animals to be fast swimmers. You can see that all these structures are tapered, have a body plan which is tapered from its both ends. Enables to have a stream and fusiform form in swimming in the sea. To reach velocity reaches 80 km per hour. This kind of evolution is called convergent evolution. That means all converge to all convert in a characteristic to enable them to have a specific feature, which is swimming very fast. How the exchange happen with the environment? Animals must exchange nutrients and waste product and gases with their environment. This exchange occurs as substance dissolve in an aqueous solution move across the plasma membrane of each cell. Our bodies and those of most other animals are much more complex than that of Hydra. So if you can see in the figure A shows an amoeba, which is a single-celled organism, and it can easily do exchange with the external environment, while an Hydra is an animal that is can live. The animal lives in the sea, and it is a diploplastic. Have a body layer consists of 2 layers of cells, and even with 2 layers of cell, it can do exchange with the external environment. For such a body plan, you need to increase the surface area, increase the number of cells. This is decrease the ratio of outer surface area to the total volume. For a comparison, the ratio of the outer surface area to volume for a whale is hundreds of thousands of times smaller than for a water flea. So that means the water flea have the opposite ratio of volume to surface area to enable it for more convenient exchange with the environment. Nevertheless, every cell in the whale must be bathed in fluid and have access to oxygen, nutrient, and other resources. How this is accomplished? This is accomplished by the branching or folding, which greatly increases surface area. For example, in humans, the internal exchange surface for digestion, respiration, and circulation each have an area more than 25 times that of the skin, because the skin is not branched, but the internal organ is branched. Internal body fluid link exchange surface to body surface. The spaces between cells are filled with fluids called interstitial fluid. So this complex body plan also includes circulatory fluid, which enables the circulation of all the nutrients, which is the blood. The exchange between the interstitial fluid and circulatory fluid enables the cells throughout the body to obtain all its requirements of the nutrients and get rid of all its waste. So if you can see from this figure, it's like a diagram showing the internal exchange surface of a complex animal. So you can see the different systems are represented as a sketch. For the respiratory system, it appears that it's branched as well. On the microscope, it appears like a spongy shape, and this enables the branching for the exchange of gases. For the digestive system, you can see that the lining of the small intestine have the finger-like projection, which is called microvilli, and this is for the aiming for increasing the surface area This is the folding what we are talking about. That's aiming to increase the surface area of absorption. As well in the excretory system, which in humans the basic unit is the nephron, you can see that it consists of a lot of nephron, and it's all branching and convoluted for the ace of blood filtering. So basically the slide talks about increasing the surface area for the normal processes of the exchange. What is organization of body plans? Cells are organized into tissues, group of cells with a similar appearance and a common function. Different types of tissues are further organized into functional units called organs. The simplest animals such as the sponge, lake organs, or even true tissue. Group of organs unite together to form organ system. There are four main types of animal tissue: epithelial, connective, muscle, and nervous. We'll talk first about the epithelial tissue. So you can see what's the function of epithelial tissue. It lines, covers, and protects other tissue and organs. These types of cells are tightly joined together, named according to cell shape. So it's the types of the epithelial tissue named according to the cell shape. They function mainly as a barrier against mechanical injury, pathogen, and fluid loss. Epithelia also form active interface with the environment. Epithelium that lines the nasal passage is crucial for the sense of smell. So what is this type of epithelium? You have the first type, cuboidal epithelia, simple columnar epithelia, simple squamous epithelia, pseudostratified columnar epithelia, and you have the stratified epithelia. All these four types, the bottom four types, are all simple. Or the first three, are all simple because they consist of only one layer, while the top one, the stratified, because it consists of multi-layer, while the pseudostratified, actually it looks like a multi-layer, but actually it's one layer of cells of columnar epithelium. That's called pseudostratified. For the stratified epithelia, which normally present the best example for that is the skin and the lining of the digestive system. It consists of multi-layered and always regenerate rapidly, and new cells are formed at the bottom and pushed to the upper layer to replace the dead one, which is removed due to friction. As an example, the skin. If we look closely to the types of epithelia, for the cuboidal cell, it's disc-shaped cells specialized for secretion, make up epithelium of the kidney tubules, many glands, thyroid gland, salivary gland. For simple columnar, large brick-shaped cells found in the places where secretion and active absorption is important, lines the intestine, secreting digestive juices and absorbing nutrients. While for simple squamous epithelium, it's a blade-like cells function only for exchange of material by diffusion. That's why it's a very thin layer of cells. They are thin, leaky, and they line as well the blood vessels and the air sacs of lungs, which is very convenient for the air sacs of lungs because there is exchange of gases. For the pseudostratified, it's a single layer of cells. But why it appears as a multi-layer? Because cells vary in the height. Some cells are short, some cells are long. They're usually ciliated cells, and the best example for pseudostratified columnar epithelia is the trachea. Trachea is lined by pseudostratified ciliated columnar epithelium. Polarity is important in epithelia. Polarity, that means the cells of epithelia have two different poles of cell, an apical surface and the basal surface. And you can see from the figure, the apical surface here is exposed to the lumen, while the basal surface exposed to the internal of the cells. All epithelia are polarized, have two different sides. The apical surface faces the lumen, the cavity, or outside of the organ, and therefore exposed to the fluid or air. The apical surface of epithelia lining, for example, the small intestine, is covered by microvilli, as we said before, to increase the surface area available for absorption. The opposite side of each epithelium is considered to be the basal surface. In this slide, it's like a simple quiz. Try to identify from the photo what are these types of epithelia. Just write the names of the epithelia, just train as a quiz. The same here, try to identify which types of epithelia. These two slides are actually real images of epithelial tissue. We'll talk now about the second type of tissue, which is the connective tissue. Connective tissue, from the name implies, it consists of a sparse population of cells scattered through an extracellular matrix. It holds many tissue and organs together and in place. The matrix generally consists of web of fibers embedded into a liquid, jelly-like, or a solid foundation. Within this matrix, which have fibers, there are numerous cells called fibroblasts, which secrete fiber proteins, and as well there is macrophage. And macrophage is a type of cell of the immune cell which engulf foreign particles and any cell debris by phagocytosis. The connective tissue fiber are of three kinds: collagenous fibers, reticular fibers, and the elastic fibers. The first one provides strength and flexibility, while the second one join connective tissue to adjacent tissue, while the third one make tissue elastic. If you pinch a fold of tissue on the back of your hand, the collagenase and the reticular fibers prevent this skin from being pulled apart from the bone, whereas the elastic fiber restore the skin to its original shape when you release your grip. In this slide, we'll see the different types of connective tissue. You have the first type and the location as well, and the photo for this type. You have the loose connective tissue. For the loose, it's the most widespread connective tissue, CT, connective tissue. It binds the epithelia to the underlying tissue and holds organ in place. Have all three types. What three types? The elastic, the collagenase, the reticular. Found in skin and throughout the body. For the fibrous connective tissue, they are dense with collagenase fibers found in tendons which attach muscle to the bone, and in ligaments as well, which attach bones to the joints. You have the bone, which you consider a type of connective tissue. Of course, we all know the bone. It is a skeleton, consists of bone-forming cells called osteoblast. And these osteoblasts secrete a matrix of collagen together with calcium, magnesium, and phosphate ion combined together to form the hard mineral structure of the bone or the matrix. Then we have the blood. It's a type of loose connective tissue as well, and of course we all know that blood consists of plasma and the red blood cells and white blood cells and the platelets and salt and water, and of course it carries all the function of circulating the nutrients and the exchange of gas throughout the body. The next type is the adipose tissue. It's a type of connective tissue that stores fats and insulate body and stores fuel as well. The other type is cartilage, and of course we know cartilage to contain a collagenous fiber, and cells responsible for forming the cartilage is called chondrocytes. And the skeleton of many vertebrate embryos contain cartilage that is replaced by bone as the embryo matures. So that means that embryo in the uterus of mothers always first originate as a cartilage, and then this is replaced during development inside the uterus, is replaced into bone before delivery of the baby. And this as well, you need to train on these figures to know which are the types of this connective tissue. Try to relate between this slide and the previous slide to identify what are these types of connective tissue. You can see here the location, a slide representing the location of these different just mentioned connective tissue, where they are located in the arm. The third type of tissue is the muscle tissue. Of course, the muscle is responsible for nearly all types of body movement. All muscle cells consist of filaments containing the proteins actin and myosin. So the two major proteins of the muscles are actin and myosin, which together enables muscle to contract. We have generally three types of muscle: either skeletal muscle, smooth muscle, or cardiac muscle of the heart. So skeletal muscle, this kind of muscle are voluntary muscle. You can control this type of muscle. They attach the bone to the bone by tendons and responsible for voluntary movement. Usually this kind of muscle looks like striated. You can see the striation in the muscle, which the smooth is lacking the striation. In adult mammals, these muscles increase in size but not in number, while the smooth muscle lacks striation and found on the walls of the digestive tract. So this is involuntary movement of the muscle helps the contraction and relaxation of the muscles of the digestive tract to help to move the food through the digestive tract. Cells are spindle-shaped, responsible for involuntary actions. While the cardiac muscle is responsible for the contraction and relaxation of heart, it's a kind of combining the two characteristic feature of skeletal and smooth. It combines the striation of the skeletal muscle, but it is not voluntary, and it combines the involuntary action of the smooth muscle. These cardiac muscles have a specific feature, that is, these muscles are branched and connected, so they are not isolated like each muscle fiber of the smooth and the skeletal. In skeletal and smooth muscle tissue, it consists of fiber of isolated fibers that is backed together, while the cardiac muscle, generally it's like a one big muscle branched together. Okay, and they need to be synchronized for the heart contraction in the cardiac muscle. As well, this slide you try to train on these different types of muscles. I have to say that the striated muscle, in the striated muscle, the muscles are multi-nucleated, while in the unstriated muscle or the smooth muscle, the muscle fiber are single nucleated. And in the cardiac muscle, one of the most characteristic feature of the cardiac muscle is the presence of discs transversing the, which called, you can see it on the top right figure, the intercalated disc, which is responsible for synchronizing the action of the muscle of the heart. Here you can see the location of each muscle as an example throughout the body.